The smell of acetone always made Ava feel sick. It reminded her of hospital corridors, of sterilized plastic chairs, of rubber gloves snapping against skin, of the cold sting of antiseptic swabs before the needle pierced her veins. But this time, the sharp scent wasn't coming from a clinic. It was coming from the glossy new nail salon 2 blocks from her apartment. Luxe Nail and Spay. Soft pink sign, white and gold trim, fresh orchids in the window, and her sister, Madison, standing out front, holding a champagne glass and smiling, like she'd earned any of it. Ava stood across the street, wrapped in the gray coat that had always hung a little too big after chemo had hollowed her out. Her breath was shallow, her fingers clenched inside her sleeves. She hadn't been invited to the grand opening, not even a courtesy text, not even a thank you, just a pink and gold flyer that her building manager had slid under her door by mistake. 6 months earlier. Madison needs a break, their mother had said, voice tight but sugary over the phone. She's been through a lot, Ava. Ava blinked, still lying in her hospital bed, the IV line in her arm pulsing saline through her veins. Her lips were cracked. Her mouth tasted like iron and metal and something she couldn't name. I lost all my hair this week, Ava whispered, and 10 pounds. But yeah, poor Madison. There was silence on the other end, just the faint clatter of dishes. Her mom probably multitasking in the kitchen while Ava floated somewhere between fever dreams and the hum of fluorescent lights. She's under a lot of pressure, her mom finally said. I just think you could be a little more understanding. She gave up her part-time job to help with your fundraiser, you know. Ava stared at the ceiling, the cracks in the tiles, the buzzing light overhead. Yeah, I remember. She made the GoFundMe link. I did the updates. You wouldn't have gotten half the donations without her Instagram network. Ava didn't argue. She didn't have the energy. She hadn't since round 2 of chemo. But something had shifted after that call. Something cold. Something rotten. The numbers that didn't add up. The GoFundMe had raised just over $42,000. Enough to help with treatment gaps, recovery therapy, some private care. Ava had written every update personally, even the ones typed through shaking hands on morphine. People had been generous. Old classmates, her college professors. A few strangers who'd read her story and sent messages like, "Stay strong, warrior queen." But by the time she was out of the hospital and home again, weak, bald, with a walker and 3 half-filled prescriptions, the money was gone. I had to use some of it, Madison said breezily over dinner one night. While you were under, Mom said it was fine. Ava looked up from her soup. Use it. For what? Madison didn't blink. Marketing classes. Licensing. I'm opening a salon. It's my dream, Ava. You wouldn't understand how hard it's been trying to build something with all this chaos. You used my cancer fund, Ava said quietly. Madison tilted her head, mascara flawless, her gel manicure catching the light. It wasn't just yours. It was a family emergency fund. You should be proud we're doing something positive with it. Ava said nothing. Not because she agreed, because she couldn't breathe. The fracture that was always there later that night, Ava sat on the floor of her room, knees drawn to her chest. She pulled out her old journals, back when they were kids, and she wrote everything down in a pink, glittery notebook. Back then, Madison would sneak into her room and rip out the pages she didn't like. Back then, their mom would laugh and say, Madison's just more expressive. Back then, Ava learned that silence kept her safer than truth ever did. Now a delivery van rolled up in front of the nail salon. Ava watched a man unload a stack of spa chairs, still in their packaging. One of them had a pale pink tag. Custom ordered from Italy. Her stomach turned. The last fundraiser donation came from a retired nurse named Elena in Minnesota. The message read, "My daughter passed from leukemia last year. I couldn't save her, but maybe I can help you." Ava had cried when she read that, and now that money sat under someone else's pedicure chair. Later, that week, Ava opened her inbox and typed slowly, deliberately, to donor support agofundme.com. Subject, misuse of medical fund, urgent inquiry, dear. GoFundMe support, I believe the donations raised for my medical treatment were misused by the campaign co-organizer. I have documentation and bank statements. Please advise next steps to report financial fraud and potential restitution. She didn't stop shaking until the email was sent. Then she opened her old journal and started writing again. The GoFundMe support team responded faster than she expected. We take allegations of misuse seriously. Please submit the following: proof of diagnosis, receipts, evidence of funds misallocation, and campaign access history. We will begin a formal review once all items are submitted. Support team. GoFundMe Ava stared at the message, rereading it 3 times, her pulse quickening with each pass. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She had all of it. The treatment, invoices, the billing gaps, screenshots of her messages asking Madison for updates and being ghosted. Even a spreadsheet she'd started during recovery, trying to trace where the money had gone. She had the facts. What she didn't have, yet, was the story behind the numbers. Thursday afternoon, the salon. Visit Ava hadn't walked more than 3 blocks in a month. But that day, she pushed herself. She wore sunglasses, a scarf tied around her head, and a coat that weighed too much. Her legs ached. But her anger carried her through. She stepped into Luxe Nail and Spa just after noon. The floors were gleaming white marble, the lighting soft and warm. Gold-accented mirrors lined the wall, next to a curated shelf of organic oils and skin creams. A young receptionist looked up with a perfect smile. "Welcome to Luxe," she chirped. "Do you have an appointment?" "No," Ava said, voice hoarse. "I'm just looking." She wandered the space slowly, breathing in the smell of polish and essential oils. On the wall, a glass plaque read, "Founded by Madison LeClaire. Built from love, resilience, and family." Ava's hand curled into a fist in her pocket. She pulled out her phone and took a photo. Then another of the price menu. Then one of the custom chairs. Yes, the ones imported from Italy. No one stopped her. They never suspected the quiet, pale girl in the scarf was the same one who'd paid for it all that night, the flash drive at home. Ava opened her laptop and pulled out an old flash drive she hadn't used in years. She copied everything. Screenshots of the GoFundMe dashboard, photos of receipts from her treatments, her old hospital admission papers, Madison's Instagram posts, bragging about the miracle opening of her business. Then she started recording a voice memo. "Hi, my name is Ava LeClaire. 6 months ago, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. I was supposed to be the recipient of a $42,000 fundraiser, but most of that money never made it to me. This is the beginning of the record." She saved the audio file as Luxe Misuse Part 1.wav. She didn't know yet if she'd go public, but she wanted the truth to exist, somewhere outside her head. 2 weeks later, the breaking point, Ava was sitting on her worn couch, the sunlight warming her thin hands, when she got a voicemail from her Aunt Natalie, her mom's younger sister, the only one in the family who'd ever spoken to her like an equal. "Hey, sweetheart. I just wanted to check in. I saw Madison's grand opening post on Facebook. Looked expensive. I remember she said she had some help from the family, but anyway, I didn't want to assume. Just call me back if you need anything. Anything." Ava sat frozen. She hadn't told Aunt Natalie. But Madison had, and she'd lied. Ava picked up her phone and called her aunt back. The first conversation that changed everything. Natalie didn't interrupt. She just listened. Ava told her everything. The fundraiser, the missing money, the way. Their mom kept brushing it off like it wasn't a big deal. How Madison had framed the business as inspired by Ava's journey. Aunt Natalie's voice cracked. "She's using your name?" Ava nodded. "I think she always was." There was a pause then. "I helped promote that fundraiser," her aunt said. "I shared it with my whole church group. I'll help you get answers. I'll help you get it back." For the first time in weeks, Ava felt something like breath returning to her lungs. Not revenge, not yet, but momentum. Meanwhile, growing spotlight Madison's TikTok was exploding. Her business account had 34,000 followers and counting, clips of her salon with soft music overlays. From family pain to beauty, gain, turning trauma into triumph. This chair was named after my sister, Ava. Ava watched the video 3 times. She looked at the pink salon chair with the tiny engraved nameplate. The Ava. Throne. She paused the video. Her hands shook so hard she dropped the phone. That night, she created a burner TikTok account. The handle, The Real Ava Says. Bio. There's another side to the story, and she posted just one video. A single sentence typed over a plain black background. What if your sister used your cancer fund to open her nail salon and named a chair after you? No hashtags, no face, no audio, just silence and truth. By morning, it had over 76,000 views. The comments under Ava's black screen video were relentless. Tell us who she is. Drop the receipts. This happened to my cousin too. Her family drained her GoFundMe while she was in ICU. If this is real, she needs to be in jail. Is the salon in Portland? This sounds familiar. No way. I donated to someone just like this. It better not be her. It hadn't even been 12 hours. And Ava's one-line truth was already breathing down Madison's neck. She didn't respond. Not yet. She wanted the lie to bake in the sun a little longer. Across town, Madison's apartment. Madison stirred her overpriced oat milk latte, phone. In hand, eyes locked on the TikTok, now being screen recorded and re-uploaded by gossip pages and micro-influencers. She read the comments once, then twice, then she called their mother. She's starting drama again, Madison hissed. Just like when we were kids, she always wants attention. Their mom's voice was tight. It's just TikTok, Madison. Ignore it. You've built something beautiful. Don't let her ruin it with her bitterness. Bitterness? Madison snapped. She's making people think I stole from her. Do you know how damaging that is to my brand? There was silence. She was sick, her mom said quietly. People feel bad for her. Madison's lips curled. Well, I'm not going. Down for this. Back at Ava's apartment, The binder Ava had spent the last 3 nights building what she now called the binder. Tab 1, fundraiser screenshots. Tab 2, bank transactions. Tab 3, GoFundMe terms of misuse. Tab 4, Madison's public posts where she claimed to fund the business from savings. Tab 5, Ava's medical documents, every chemo bill, lab report, and discharge note on the front, truth bitterness, written in black marker. Her Aunt Natalie was coming that evening. She was bringing a friend, a quiet, sharp-eyed attorney who had helped Ava's cousin through a malpractice settlement. They would talk options, not for court yet, but for leverage. Ava wasn't just going to expose the truth. She was going to do it in a way Madison couldn't spin. Later that night, the family group chat. Implodes 8:42 p.m. Mom. Ava, whatever you're doing online, please stop. People are starting to message me. This is embarrassing. 8:43 p.m. Madison. You seriously need help. You said you were over it. This is defamation. You're ruining my business. 8:46 p.m. Ava. If you think it's defamation, sue me. 8:47 p.m. Mom, that's not the point. Family matters should stay private. 8:49 p.m. Ava, then maybe the family should have handled it like it mattered. She left the chat. Blocked Madison. Muted her mother. TikTok, day 3 Ava's. Burner account had gone from 0 to 37,000 followers, without a single video showing her face. Her second post was simple. This was my hospital bill. $7,842. Insurance denied it. The fundraiser said it was covered. Over the bill was a cropped photo of Madison's Instagram post showing the new LED pedicure lighting system, $7,800 well spent near boss moves. The comments exploded. Oh, hell no. I feel physically sick. That's not just a scam, that's straight up evil. What's the name of the salon again? She bragged about the cost, while her sister was in the hospital? Ava didn't say a word, but the internet screamed for her. That same week, Karma gets a name. The GoFundMe team followed up. We have frozen the disbursement account associated with your campaign. A formal investigation is underway. Please prepare for a call from our fraud team within 48 hours, Ava exhaled. For the first time in months, her breath felt like her own. Her Aunt Natalie high-fived her across the dining table. One brick down. Madison's panic begins. In the middle of a basic gel set, Madison's receptionist handed her the phone. There's someone from Channel 4 on the line. They said it's about your business origin story. Her heart nearly stopped. Later in the break room, Madison hissed through clenched teeth. This is an attack. She's turning people against me. I built this. But even her staff had begun whispering. One of the girls had reposted Ava's TikTok with the caption, "Sometimes silence is louder than glitter." Madison's brand was becoming radioactive. She didn't know how much worse it could get. Ava did. Ava's next step. She printed flyers, not to slander, not to shout, just plain text. Before you book at Luke's Nail and Spay, ask where the money came from. Signed, a survivor, not a sponsor. She left 3 at a time in nearby cafes. Slipped them into yoga studios. Left one tucked inside a nail polish bottle at a drugstore aisle. The city didn't explode. It just whispered. And whispers were enough to rot an empire. The local paper was the first to pick it up. Not a front-page story, just a side column titled, "Online Accusation Claims Cancer Fund Was Misused for Nail Spa Launch," by Elise Chen. Community contributor Ava had nothing to do with it. But someone had sent the journalist her TikToks. The article didn't name Madison. It didn't name Ava either. But the details were unmistakable, just specific enough for anyone paying attention. By the next morning, 3 regular clients canceled their appointments at Lux. By that evening, one of Madison's brand sponsors quietly pulled back their Instagram tag. Madison still hadn't made a statement. She didn't know how. The call that changed everything. "Ava LeClaire?" the voice said over the phone. "Yes," Ava answered, already sitting upright, the binder open in her lap. "This is Diane from GoFundMe's fraud investigations team. Thank you for your materials. We've reviewed the evidence you submitted and compared it to the campaign's purpose and distribution records. There are major discrepancies." Ava's heart was racing. "We'd like to know if you would consider being part of a formal complaint. We can assist with referral to legal counsel. If you choose to remain anonymous in any public resolution, that is your right." Ava said yes, not because she wanted money, but because Madison had built her business on Ava's illness and dared to say Ava was selfish for speaking. Now it was time the record was corrected. Madison's statement. 3 days later, Madison finally broke her silence on Instagram. A 5-slide post in pastel beige with cursive headers, "My Truth." Slide 1. The past few weeks have been extremely difficult for me and my family. Slide 2. When my sister was ill, I put my life on hold to support her. Slide 3. Yes, I used some of the funds for the salon, but only after she recovered. Slide 4. I never claimed the business was mine alone. It was born from shared hardship. Slide 5. I wish Ava healing and peace. I'm heartbroken she chose this path. Ava stared at the post. She wasn't tagged. Her name wasn't mentioned. But Madison's comments were full of, "Praying for both of you. Families are complicated. Don't let hate win. Keep shining. You did your best." And a few, "Where's the refund, though? If my sister was sick, I wouldn't need to steal to help her." Sounds like victim flipping to me. Ava's next move was quiet, precise, permanent. She uploaded one photo to her now rapidly growing TikTok account, on The Real Ava Says. No voiceover, no music, just a side-by-side comparison. Left, a hospital bill, 7,842. Denied, right, a nail salon invoice. Italian LED chairs, $7,800, paid in full. Caption, she said it was shared hardship. This is how it was shared. The post exploded. 100,000 views in 24 hours. 1,400 comments. Journalists DMing her. A popular podcast host offering her an anonymous interview slot. The family meeting Ava hadn't been invited, but Aunt Natalie said, "You're going." They met in a neutral place, a hotel conference room. Too awkward for a fight, too sterile for lies to linger. Madison showed up late. Her heels clicked like gunshots on the tile. Their mother was already seated, arms crossed, lips pursed. "I don't know why this is necessary," Madison said, eyes cutting into Ava. "I already explained myself. I made a post." Ava didn't blink. "Your statement didn't mention you used $28,000 of the fund on your business. You said some." "That's a matter of interpretation," Madison snapped. Aunt Natalie slid a sheet across the table. Bank transfers, exact amounts, dates. A note that read, "Misappropriated medical fundraiser disbursement." This is slander, Madison choked. No, Ava said. This is truth, and now it's documented. Later, that week, the salon was. Quiet Ava walked by Lux again. It wasn't closed, not yet, but there were no orchids in the window. One of the now hiring signs had been torn down. She walked past slowly, not stopping. Didn't even glance inside. The best revenge wasn't fire. It was the coldness that came from never needing to explain yourself again. Ava hadn't meant to check the salon's Yelp page again, but she did. 6 stars, and falling. The top review read, "Came here for nails, left feeling sick. Can't support a place built off someone's suffering. The chair I was sitting in." Apparently paid for by cancer donations, meant for the owner's sister. Another read, "Not just poor taste, actual fraud. Do better. Shame on you." Madison had turned off comments on her latest Instagram reel, but the screenshots were everywhere. Now, Reddit threads, TikTok duets, podcast clips dissecting the influencer who turned her sister's cancer into a brand. But Ava said nothing. She just watched and waited. The unexpected letter, it came folded in thirds in a plain envelope. No return address. Just her name in shaky cursive. Inside was a note written on yellow paper. And a check. "Dear Ava, I donated $100 to your fundraiser last fall. I believed in your story. When I found out what happened, I couldn't sleep. I can't fix everything, but I hope this little bit helps you start something of your own. You don't owe anyone silence. Elaine M., retired teacher, Oregon." Ava stared at the check. $100. It wasn't the amount that hit her. It was that. A stranger. Someone who had no stake in her life, cared more than her own family. She put the check in a box. A new one. One she'd started filling quietly with envelopes, post-it notes, screenshots, even Polaroids. Labeled reclamation. At home, the shift in her mother. Her mom had stopped calling. It had been a week since their last text. A short, sharp, "You're tearing this family apart." Ava hadn't replied, because deep down she realized the family had been tearing her apart for years. But she did get a voicemail, late, almost midnight. "Ava, I don't know what to say anymore. Your sister, she's not doing well. The business is crumbling. She said she's getting death threats. I'm scared. She made mistakes, but you're not perfect either. Can't we just move past this? You've made your point." Ava sat still for a long time after listening. Not angry, not shaking. Just empty. Then she deleted the message and blocked the number. A quiet offer. The next day, her inbox pinged with a message from a woman named Jory, freelance producer. She'd worked with Vera Plus Co., an independent documentary platform. "We've been following the story. I think people need to hear your voice, not just the TikToks, but the whole story. Would you consider sitting down for an anonymous interview? No face, no names if you don't want. But your truth deserves space." Ava didn't say yes. Not yet. She saved the message. She needed more than catharsis. She needed control. Madison's final push-on. A Wednesday it arrived, a formal letter, from Madison's lawyer, threatening legal action if Ava didn't remove her posts and issue a public apology. The words, "character defamation, emotional distress, and lost business revenue" were underlined. Ava laughed. She actually laughed. because she'd been waiting for this. She sent the letter to GoFundMe's legal division, sent a copy to her aunt's attorney, and then drafted her reply to Madison's legal team. I look forward to the discovery process. Let's open the books. She didn't need to shout. She didn't need to rant. Madison had spent a year building an empire of veneers. Ava had spent 1 month pulling the strings that held it together, and the sound of the unraveling was quiet, like scissors in fabric. The binder now had a locket, was thicker now. Tab 6, screenshots of threats. Tab 7, voicemail transcripts. Tab 8, receipts from Ava's new job, a quiet part-time role, writing newsletters for a cancer foundation. She didn't need to be in the spotlight. She just wanted truth to outlive the lie. And now, for the first time in years, she slept through the night. Not because she forgave them, but because she no longer needed to. Ava sat by her window, sipping lukewarm tea and watching a thin line of birds fly in perfect formation. It was almost cinematic, the quiet order of nature following its course, indifferent to chaos. Her inbox had 3 new requests: a journalist wanting a quote, a podcast inviting her to speak anonymously, a private message from someone who claimed to have worked at Lux Spa. The message was short. Just so you know, she told everyone you were fine now. That you didn't need the money. Said you were just being dramatic. I quit 2 days ago. Ava didn't reply, but she added it to the binder. Meanwhile, Lux Spa was on life support. Madison's latest post was different. No filters, no pink banners, no spa music. Just her, raw-faced and shaking, holding her phone with both hands. This has gone too far. People are attacking me. My business is suffering. I loved my sister. I did everything for her when she was sick. I didn't steal from her. I invested in both of us. This is bullying. Please stop. But the damage was done. The internet wasn't convinced. And worse, her clients weren't either. Funny how she invested in both of them. But Ava's, not on the lease, license, or profit share. If you loved her, maybe pay her back the $28,000. She used Ava's cancer like a brand. Don't let her cry her way out now. This is the Influencer Apology Tour, Part 3. Ava's quiet victory. She didn't post a reaction. She didn't tweet. She didn't comment. Instead, she applied for something new, the Rose Grant, offered by a nonprofit that funds young women rebuilding their lives after critical illness. A small business fund designed for survivors. Her application essay began like this: I lost my body before I lost my trust. But I'm still here and I'm building something with clean hands. The visit to her father's grave. It had been years. He died when she was 13. The last time she remembered her mother truly hugging her without expectation. He would have hated all of this. The lies, the theft, the way Ava had been made to feel like a burden for simply surviving. She knelt by his stone and whispered, I'm not angry anymore, but I am awake. I wish you were here to see me now. You always said truth would protect itself. She left a folded paper there, one of Madison's fundraiser updates, signed in her handwriting. Every dollar helps Ava fight for her life. It was all she needed to remember. The call from GoFundMe. Ava, we've concluded our investigation. We're issuing a statement this Friday. We'll also be offering you a restitution check for the amount confirmed as misused. $28,419.21. Ava didn't cry. She just nodded, alone in her apartment, and whispered, Good. It wasn't about the money anymore. But now, at least, it would go where it was always meant to. Madison's final move, and the final silence. Madison's business license was flagged for audit, not by Ava, but by someone in the city's small business bureau who had seen the viral story and began asking questions. The audit would go slowly, quietly, but relentlessly. Her brand deals dried up. Her posts got fewer likes. Her once buzzing spa now echoed with cancellations and refund requests. She sent Ava a message. One line. You've made your point. You win. Ava didn't reply, because this was never about winning. The real rebuild Ava used part of the restitution to enroll in a creative writing mentorship. She'd always loved stories. Now she had her own. She rented a tiny studio space and began sketching designs for a project she once shelved, a blog and micropress for survivors of medical trauma, a place where their stories wouldn't be twisted, monetized, or erased, right? Called it the Ava Chair, not because she needed the name, but because she was taking it back. The city had settled into its dull, post-summer hush. Leaves were starting to crisp at the edges, and Ava, for the first time in over a year, felt something strange in her chest. Not revenge, not anger, space. She was learning how to exist without carrying everyone else's shame in her body. The letter she never meant to mail it started as therapy homework. Her mentor had assigned a prompt. Write the letter you'll never send. Say everything. So Ava wrote to Madison. 4 pages. No edits, just truth. I don't need you to apologize. I needed you to be someone I could trust while I was dying. I watched you use my diagnosis as your pitch deck, and then you called me selfish for speaking. What broke me wasn't the money. It was watching strangers care more about me than my own blood. You don't have to answer this. Just know I remember. Every detail. She folded the letter, slid it into a blank envelope, sealed it. She never mailed it, but she kept it in the binder. Under a new tab, Closure, the feature article 2. Weeks later, the documentary feature went live. Vera Plutzko titled it, Sisterhood and Silence, What Happens When Family Exploits Illness for Influence. Ava's face was never shown. Her voice altered. But her words, clear, sharp, unforgiving, became the spine of the piece. It didn't go viral, not instantly. But the right people saw it. Other survivors, advocates, journalists, women who had been silenced by the people who were supposed to love them most. A few comments stood out. This happened to me too. Thank you for saying it out loud. Watching this made me realize I've been gaslit for years. She didn't burn bridges. She walked out of a house that never had doors for her. Lux's final blow came from a mirror. A month later, Ava was walking through the old neighborhood when she noticed the for lease sign on the Lux spa window. The chairs were gone. The orchids had wilted. Even the glass plaque had been pried off the wall. Only a sticky residue left where Madison's name once gleamed. Ava didn't smile. She didn't feel triumphant. She just stood there, then took out her phone and snapped one photo, the empty storefront, and posted it to her private account with only 2 words, "Not mine." The package arrives one afternoon. A small box appeared outside Ava's door. No postage stamp, no label. Hand-delivered. Inside was a note. I thought I'd at least try to be honest. This was always yours. I kept it. I shouldn't have. And under the paper, a velvet pouch. Inside the pouch, Ava's old locket, The one her father gave her. The one that went missing the day she was admitted for her first round of chemo. She hadn't seen it since. She thought it was lost forever. Now, it sat in her palm, cold and quiet, like a memory that had waited patiently to be returned. Ava didn't cry, but she whispered, "Too late." Then she put it on. The gala invitation. That winter, Ava received an unexpected invitation from the Rose Grant Foundation. They were hosting a private fundraiser for young women entrepreneurs and cancer survivors. Enclosed was a hand-signed note. I love to honor your project, the Ava Chair, as a spotlight initiative. Ava read it twice. Then again. She thought of how many times she'd been erased, misnamed, minimized, made to feel like a footnote in someone else's story. Now her name was the headline. Not stolen, not borrowed, not used, chosen. The gala was held in a historic library-turned-art space. High ceilings, soft chandeliers, and quiet music played by a cello trio tucked near the staircase. Ava stood in the back of the crowd, wearing a black dress she bought secondhand and tailored herself. Her head was no longer wrapped. Her hair had started to come back in soft curls that didn't need approval. She hadn't expected this. The applause. The spotlight. The woman at the podium introducing her as a survivor, a builder, a voice that reshaped our definition of strength. Ava walked to the stage slowly. Her hand didn't shake when she held the mic. I was raised in a house where silence was called peace, where betrayal came dressed in family titles, where the money people gave to save my life paid for someone else's dreams. But I'm not here tonight for that version of the story. I'm here because even when people steal your name, your voice, your worth, you can still take it back. Quietly. Completely. Thank you for seeing me. And for making space for the parts of us that refuse to stay buried. The room rose in a standing ovation. A final message from her mother. It came 3 days later. A handwritten card in a plain white envelope. No return address. Ava recognized the looping cursive before she even opened it. You've changed. I don't know who you are anymore, but I hope one day you'll come home. Ava read it once, then turned it over and wrote on the back, I haven't changed. I've just stopped hiding. She didn't mail it back. She didn't need to. She tucked it between the pages of her binder. Under the final tab, Freedom, the Luxe storefront. 6 months later, it reopened as a bookstore cafe, run by a local teacher collective. No glam, no orchids. Just shelves filled with donated paperbacks, the scent of old pages and fresh coffee. Ava visited once. Quietly. She sat at the window in one of the old spa chairs, repainted and repurposed as reading seats. The new owner had left a small plaque where the gold one used to be. It didn't say Ava, or Madison, or anything really. Just one line etched into the wood grain, built from what was broken. Ava smiled, sipped her coffee, and leaned back into the chair. No name. No need, just peace.